Well, we might as well dive into the spirit world. Seems as we're only 11 days away from Halloween. Hello to all the beautiful starseeds and lightworkers out there. My name is Jenny. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. So today I thought we would get into a bit of an October Halloween vibe and talk about ghosts and the spirit world. Now, all joking aside, this is not something that just comes around this time of year. Ghosts and the spirit world are very real. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the simple fact is that they're there. Basically, ghosts are earthbound spirits. So they're in the fourth dimension as they have shed their physical shell of being a human and moved into the non-physical 4D realm. So yes, these were beings that were either human or animals but had a physical incarnation here on Earth. And then likely they have died in a very sudden way. And so an earthbound spirit stays trapped in the earth through their own confusion. So basically they don't realize that they've died. They're so full of confusion and fear, and they've likely died from a tragedy or a trauma that was sudden. These quick, unexpected deaths can leave a spirit feeling very confused. And so their physical body passes away, but there isn't that much different consciousness-wise when you actually leave your body for the first time. So I don't know if any of my subscribers have had a near-death experience before, but it is a very confusing experience. I personally have had one, and I didn't realize that I had even left my body at that time. It's a very confusing experience, and you don't realize that you're outside of your body for quite some time. Unless you physically see your body, then that can help you to understand what's going on. So the first way that an earthbound spirit can be created, which is a term that we now know as ghosts, is through this way where they've had this unexpected death. It's very traumatic, tragic, it happens quickly. So even though they might think something is wrong, they don't really realize that they've completely passed on in the physical realm. And so they are tied to the earth realm through this confusion, kind of just wandering around, still trying to figure out what happened. There is another way that a spirit can become earthbound, and that is someone that has unfinished business. So they have a lot of karma in their lifetime that wasn't cleared up. And as a soul, it was things that they had really wanted to clear up. So it's almost like the soul isn't ready to leave because it didn't accomplish everything that it wanted to. And this is very sad, and I have a lot of compassion for this style of earthbound spirit. I have a lot of compassion for both, actually, all of the spirit world. And so you can envision something like a parent and a child that had a huge fight, a huge rift in the family, and they never got it worked out. And that parent, when they passed on, was trying to kind of hold on to life and wait to have that closure within themselves and within their family unit. And of course, it's not just rifts or arguments in families that can create this unfinished business. It can be created in so many ways. And it's different for every soul what touches them and makes them feel like they're not ready to go. In both of these cases, the consciousness of the being gets stuck, basically running on a loop. Whether they're replaying their traumatic death, so say that was through like a natural disaster, a murder, a car accident, anything sudden and traumatic that wasn't expected, or in the case of a ghost with unfinished business, then they would be running this loop around that unfinished business. So if it was a mother who had issues with her son, and say she was just really afraid that he wasn't going to be taken care of. I've experienced that type of spirit before, where it was a parent who was just so worried about leaving their child behind and wasn't ready to leave because of that, through that worry. And so the loop that they would then be running all the time, because they've lost their sense of awareness. So they're not aware, as each day goes by and they know exactly what's going on around them and they have like fully conscious thought. It's more of being stuck on a pattern, running on a loop of, and these loops aren't pleasant, right? Like these loops are based around fear, worry, trauma. And that is why I have so much compassion for the spirit world, because I've never met a happy ghost. I don't think that it exists. Maybe a carefree ghost if it was like the spirit of a child, but still when it came down to it, the reason that they would be trapped or earthbound is through some kind of trauma or tragedy or karma that had not had its closure or its ends tied up. So because of their heightened emotional state and the fact that they are trapped running through the worst moments and fears of their lives, they are very easily triggered, agitated, and frustrated. And when they are, that's when things like poltergeist activity begins to happen. So, I'm sure you know what that is, but examples of that could be an eerie feeling inside of a home that has a spirit. The feeling of being watched is the number one thing. You can also, if the spirit is very, very angry, you can also feel very dizzy when you're in the same space as it. So you can feel physically affect you, as in you feel dizzy and nauseous and unsettled and just creeped out. They can also take out their frustrations by trying to move things, objects in the house, ruin things, destroy things, knock things over. Just like anything at all to get their frustration out and to have that outlet. It is pretty rare though, because any kind of action that's going to result in like a physical manifestation, so if they're in the fourth dimension and for them to like try to physically manifest something here on the third dimension, it would expel a lot of energy and leave them completely drained. So it is very rare and only happens in the most volatile of cases. So you're probably not going to come across that very often, if at all, in your lifetime. So if I encounter a spirit that is earthbound and trapped on earth, I always try to help it. I really want to help it to find its way back to the light. Now, you always have to do this with love and not force, because every being, spirit, physical, everything has free will. And so they can make a choice of whether they want to do that or not. In the end, they will be so much happier doing so. And I do have an experience that illustrates this when I did a clearing for someone. So it was a house clearing. They had had a lot of like creeped out feelings, especially coming from their den, which was like in the basement level of the house, and had that feeling of being watched, and to the point where they didn't even want to go down there anymore. It was so powerful. And so going through the house, I began completing this clearing from room to room. And I just had the sense that I should leave the basement till the end. So I started at the top and kind of worked my way down, which is the opposite of the way that a lot of people do it. But in this particular house, it felt like the right thing to do. So we cracked a few windows so as to give like fresh air a place to come in and for energy a place to leave. And we walked through the house, me and the owner of the house, with some sage and the strength of my intention, my love, my angels with me. And I also used a saying or a prayer that is very effective in house clearing, which I will share at the end of the video. An important aspect of clearing a home is to make sure that you have the owner of the home with you, someone that lives there, because they need to claim their space back from the spirit. So like I said, these spirits have free will, but if it is your home and you own that home and you live there, then you can't ask them to leave. You can't tell them where to go. They can choose not to go to the light. They can choose to go to a neutral place or a dark place, wherever they'd like, but you can ask them to leave, and they do have to obey that, you being like the owner of the home. So you just claim that space. So if I were to go into someone's house without the owner of the home, it wouldn't be as powerful because I don't really have any say over that space. It's not my home. Who am I to tell them to leave, right? When the owner and I of this home got down into the den basement area, I did get a lot of pushback from this particular spirit who did not want to be cleared, did not want to be bothered, and was quite angry that I was even there doing that. It's important to show every being respect and explain why you're there and that you come with love. And so because this spirit was extra resistant, I just decided to have like a heart-to-heart with him. I could feel that it was a male presence, and I could kind of see like an outline of an adult male standing near the window. And I explained to him why I thought he should leave and how it was actually for his own good. He was living this life of being completely invisible with no power and no influence whatsoever. It was wasted time for his soul. Whereas if he had chosen to cross over into the light, whatever he was afraid of was not there. Whatever fear he had about crossing the light, I tried to comfort him by letting him know that everything on the other side of that light is there to help him, and that he had family and he had friends and he had people waiting for him, like cheering him on that he could do this. And once he decided to go to cross over, then he was going to have all of the things that he was now lacking. He was going to have people that could see him. He wasn't going to feel so invisible and frustrated. He would no longer be stuck in the feelings that he had. He could have power again. He could have purpose again. He could even choose to reincarnate again. But living in this in-between space was just deteriorating his soul and his spirit and his purpose. I mean, he had nothing left. And so really, what are you so afraid of? Like, why are you staying here? Like, I'm not just coming from some place of just wanting to kick you out of this comfortable loop that you've been in. I'm here to help you, and you have free will. You can make your own decisions, but I'm telling you that if you go right now with Archangel Michael, who I'm asking to come to your side, that you will find so much peace, happiness, family, and connection on the other side. You have nothing to be afraid of. You've done nothing wrong. You are not in trouble. When I connected with him on this heart-to-heart level, we actually heard him scream. Like, it sounded like a muffled scream, like someone covered their hands and then screamed as loud as they could. And that muffle is because he is a dimension away, but it came through loud and clear. And it was like a scream of pain, frustration, anger, not knowing what to do, like just wanting us to hear him. He had to scream that loud. And it was chilling. It was particularly frightening for the homeowner because they heard it as well, which is amazing then how loud that would have been. And when he did that, I felt so moved emotionally. I even started to I felt tears coming down my face, and I just said, you do not have to be afraid. You are safe. You are loved. Trust me. Ask the angel that's standing there any questions that you have. There is nothing that you have to worry about. I'm offering you this chance of freedom, this moment of awareness and awakeness in this foggy loop that you've been stuck in. And then there was just kind of like a whoosh, and then I heard Archangel Michael say in my ear, he's gone, everything is okay, he's decided to go with me. And so he had obviously trusted in what I was saying and trusted in what Archangel Michael was offering, which is probably like a handout and so much love pouring off of him. And he took that leap, and that would have been so scary for him, being there for years and years and years, decades maybe, and then finally taking a step into something new. I felt so grateful that I got to be a part of that experience and that I got to help that being. And I really hope that he's just doing amazing on the other side, wherever he is right now, with his soul fully intact and his awareness intact. And, maybe planning his next lifetime, who knows? But now he has these great options ahead of him. And so clearing a space and communicating with spirits needs to come from that place of love and compassion. Because as soon as you get into an aggressive state or trying to be forceful in some way, you're only going to trigger those emotions that they're dealing with already. They're already frustrated. They're already afraid. They already have so much going against them. So it's very important to be very gentle, and ease their fears and come at them from a place of love, compassion, and helping them. And doing it for them, not for your own means or agendas. I'm telling you, I have not found one being in this entire multiverse. I was going to say in this dimension, but no, in all of the dimensions and in all of the multiverse, in all of the things that I've been through, in all of the harsh, seemingly completely soulless, selfish beings, it doesn't matter. I have not found one being that I am not able to love, that I can't see that origination spark of source, that spark of life that lives within us all, like the batteries inside the souls that we are that keep us going. We are all the same. We are all equal. There is none of us better than the other. When I view beings through that higher perspective, through the eyes of my soul, there is always something to love. Another story that I have about clearing a house was my own house, a house that I lived in many years ago now. and there was the presence of an older woman, and I believed it to be the mother of the owner of the house. So this gentleman's mother had passed away, and he was selling her house, and he sold it to us, and he left a lot of her stuff behind. Like, there was a basement full of stuff, which definitely doesn't help, because that's going to hold a lot of the spirits' memories and vibrations and all of those things. So very important to, if you're trying to do a house clearing, to make sure that you clear out the physical stuff as well. And so, but this wasn't an aggressive spirit at all. She was so sweet, like super sweet. And I just remember always feeling her watching though. And I kind of didn't mind, you know, for the first little while, for the first few months of living there. But then it got a little bit weird, because she was forming attachments to our family. So I remember feeling like I was in the living room playing with my dog at the time, and I felt her on the stairway kind of watching down, and I could feel like her amusement, like she was smiling and almost laughing at me playing with this dog. And I was like, oh, okay. It's gone a little bit too far now, because I do not want her to form attachments to me as a person or to our family, because, you know, then she's never going to leave. And that's when I really started realizing how these spirits are these beings just like we are. They're still souls, right? Just because they don't have their physical body, they're not that different. They're just stuck. And so I started to think about, you know, what her life must be like, and I wanted to help her. So I waited for a day when I was home alone, and we had like a spare room where upstairs, so up the stairs and on the right hand side, there was a spare room where the door always opened. Like, no matter, even if you clicked it shut, it would just always open. Like, you'd be walking by and it would open. And you know, you make up all kinds of reasons in your mind why that would be: the house settling, you know, the wood is expanding, the heat or the cold, whatever. But I really did know deep down that it was more than that. And so that's the place that I chose to go to try to have a conversation with her. I went up the stairs and I went into this spare room. And it was one of the very first clearings that I did. So before the other experience that I explained to you. So I wasn't really sure how to go about it. And I just knew that I wanted to talk to her, because I could feel her there and I knew that she was there. And I went into the room and I closed the door behind me, so it was just us, and I just had a heart-to-heart talk with her. That's the thing, it doesn't need to be a fancy, you know, ritual. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. You can just speak to them like they're people, because they are. And I explained to her that her son had sold this house to me, and that she had passed away, and that I was very, very sorry for her loss, and I knew that she missed her son very much, but she didn't have to worry at all about the house, because I was going to take really good care of that house. And now I wanted her to start taking care of herself and, you know, look after herself. And I thought that the best way for her to do that and to be able to powerfully watch over her son was to cross over into the light, to the other side, and become that angel or powerful soul that could then look after her son. I did say, your son is not coming back. He will never come back to this home, because I own it now. I am the new owner of this house. And I think that if you want to look after your son and look out for him, then this is the best way for you to do that. And again, I called in an angel, and there was no dramatic like communication or response from her at all. I mean, I could feel her intent listening. And then I asked the angel to come in, and then, you know, nothing really happened. I didn't have any kind of closure moment. I just thought, okay, well, I've done what I can. And then a few days later, I realized that the door had stopped opening. Like, if I closed it, it stayed closed. And if I left it open, it was open. It never changed anymore. It was just, and there wasn't, the house was a little bit empty. Like, I didn't feel that extra presence there. And not that her presence was unpleasant at all. I didn't feel anything. It felt very empty. And so I felt really good that she had also made that decision to cross over. And again, I had helped this beautiful spirit. So if you're experiencing any kind of spirit activity or ghost activity in your home, Please don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. They truly cannot hurt you. They are actually hurting themselves. They are souls in turmoil and they could really use some help. And so if this is a home that's affected or a space or environment that's being affected that you live in, then you have the right to ask that spirit to leave. And if it's the home of someone that you love, then they have the power and the right to ask that soul to leave. And you want to do so with love, and you want to, give them the option of wherever it is they want to go. They just can't stay here with you, but they can go somewhere else, anywhere they'd like. I always like to give them the option of going with an angel that I call in because it's the highest option, but they don't have to take that option. They can go wherever they like, but they can't stay there. They can't stay in your environment and in your space once you claim it this way. So to clear your space of negative or low vibrational energies and spirits, you want to start by cracking some windows. And that's a beautiful symbol of giving the spirits and the energies a place to leave, and also calling in new, fresh air and energy. You're then going to walk from room to room, including the closets and the corners of each room. And most people start from the basement or bottom floor and they work their way up. As you're walking through, you can ask your angels to join you for that extra protection and boost of power. Many people choose to use sage, and they carry it with them in a dish, and they let the smoke touch each part of the room as they're speaking their command. When you're burning sage, sage is a very high vibrational plant. And so as you're burning it and the smoke is entering into the space, that's going to help you with its high vibrations to clear the space. But you don't need sage. You can also use your own energy and your own intention. Now, I like to use the energy coming from my palms, as I would if I was doing an energy healing on someone, much like Reiki. You can visualize light coming out of your palms, and you can go through the room clearing it like this. And I find that honestly just as effective. So as you're going through each room, either with your hands out, getting into all of the corners and all of the closets, or with your sage and you're going up into all of the corners, closets, dark areas, every room, then you want to say something like this. I now command all negative or low vibrational beings and energies to leave my home. The only energies welcome here are those working in the light and love towards the highest good of my family and I. This powerful clearing takes place now. I now fill my space with love. Thank you. And so it is. So is anybody out there who's watching this video dealing with any of these experiences? Dealing with a haunted home or a space of some sort, or with a spirit activity or a ghost presence? If so, and you're comfortable, please leave down in the comments below how you've decided to handle this being with love. And if you're trying any of the house clearing tips that I give today, let us know how it goes. I always love reading your comments. I'm so grateful for your engagement. It really makes it feel like a community is growing here. And please do like and share this video with others so that if they're having these kinds of experiences, they know how to properly handle it as well. In the love and in the light. It's the best way. Please also subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed yet, why not? There's new videos every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday on all kinds of beautiful topics surrounding starseeds and lightworkers and the things that we go through and the questions that we have on a day-to-day basis. I'll leave my link in the description box below so that you can see what I've been up to. There's many different services that I offer, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, and you can follow me there for daily content. Thank you so much for being here with me, not just today, but on Earth in general. I'm so grateful that we're all here together as we work towards our earthly missions. And I want you to remember to listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. Have a great day. Bye.